Page 26, today, I'd like to talk a little bit about it, naturally, I always do, right? Starting with the right hand. These are only suggestions, you can play it exactly the way it is, it's fine, you don't have to change stilly squat, okay? But I'm still going to suggest some things. On page 26, there's one line of music across the bottom, alright? Let's start out with the half note. You have your index finger on the F, on the half note, right? 2 eighth notes. Then in the next measure, I recommend putting your thumb on the F. This way, in the next measure, you can put your 4th finger on the B flat instead of the little finger, because if you do it the way they're suggesting, you're going to have your little finger on the, and that's fine. That's the way you want to do it. I just find it more comfortable to put the 4th finger on the B flat, because the little finger is a shorter finger and the ring finger reaches it better. Just remember, when you do the 8th notes then in that next to the last measure there, you're still using the fingering they're showing, so it's the 3rd finger, so you reach down with the 3rd finger. Okay. Now in that last measure, there's no problem in using the thumb on both notes, because it's between phrases and we want a little break in the sound. So doing that gives you that break in the silence, because the pedal is going to come up with the right hand. When you lift the thumb, you lift the pedal at the same time. You get the same thing at the top of page 27. Same fingering. I recommend the same fingering. Also at the bottom of page 27, the bottom line there going into the first ending is the same fingering again. I recommend the thumb on the F. Bottom of page 27, the second ending, that last 2 measures, they're suggesting a 2-1, 2-3, and then 1-2-5. That's okay. What we're interested here is connecting the melody notes, alright? However, I like a different fingering, and I'll alter that, where I can connect the other notes a little better. Okay? So rather than a 2-1, I don't understand the fingering they're showing here. Let's say you take the measure before the first ending and go to the second ending. Okay? They're recommending that you put the 2nd finger on the F, and so when you get to the second ending, you're going to have the little finger on the B flat up there saying put the 2 on there. Well, that doesn't work when you have your ring finger on A, put the 2 on there is a little awkward. You got to connect them, right? And the pedal's not down right now. So how are you going to connect this and this without being really awkward? I don't agree with that. However, I would recommend you do it this way. You go ahead and put the thumb on the F. This is the measure before the first ending. We already talked about it. But going into the second ending, go ahead and put the 4th finger on the B flat. Then you can put the thumb on the G. That's fine. Then I recommend, instead of the 2-3 on the B flat D, I recommend a 2-4. Okay. And then for the last chord in the right hand there, instead of the 1-2-5, I recommend a 1-3-5. I can connect them all that way. May feel a little awkward at first, but you need to get this into your fingers and your muscle memory, because there's things coming up that are more awkward than this. So don't use, that's too awkward, I don't want to do that. Going from a 2nd finger, or going from 4th finger here to 2nd finger here, that's awkward and unnecessary. You don't need to do that. Now, for the left hand, not a lot going on. You just have these chords, these broken chords. However, right at the beginning there on page 26 at the bottom, when the left hand comes in, they're saying 5-3 on all these, or 5 and then a 3-1. That's fine. But I recommend when the chords are moving around like this, you have one here, here, up, down. See, they're up, down, up, down. I recommend using the fourth finger on the higher chord. So here, fourth finger on the F, and then fifth finger on the next one, and fourth finger on the next one, and fifth finger. The hand doesn't have to move as far, believe it or not. And it's just a good habit to use the fourth finger once in a while. It's what it's there for, okay? It continues on, and wherever it goes. Now, I want to warn you, there is a change in the style, okay? Over on page 27, in the second line, that is a different style. We have a little contrast going on in the piece, which is nice, because it gets boring when the piece is the same rest, 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 all the way through, all right? It's nice to have a little difference. Once you've learned the piece as it's written, you can improvise and fudge a little bit. Like in that second line on page 27, when you have a series like this, use a little finger pedaling, is what we call it, where the finger holds the note down longer than it's written. Okay, in this piece, they're all quarter notes, so you're supposed to hold them down for one beat. But you can hold it, the first note of the measure, because it's a natural accent, hold it down a little longer. How much longer? I don't know how much longer, just a little longer. Maybe 2 beats instead of 1. Helps to reinforce a natural accent. Now, yes, we have the pedal going on. You still have to feel things, okay? So even though the pedal is dealing with the sound here, we want the felt. We want to feel it. And so if we can feel this, it helps us interpret the music and play it with a little more feeling, is what I guess I'm trying to say. So you might consider that after you've learned to play it the way it's correct. Speaking of pedaling, at the beginning of this piece and throughout most of it, you're pedaling it right after the first beat, and you're lifting it up on the third beat. So if I take it, let's just go to the top of page 27, right there. I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the first notes. Play the second beat. I'm going to lift it up as I play the first note in the third beat. This happens throughout, okay? You just lift it up on the third beat. However, the contrast there on the second line of page 27, that's legato pedaling all the way through it. So I'm going to change the pedal right after the first beat of the measure. I disagree with a little bit of what they're doing, and I'm going to talk about it. I like to hear the phrasing. I like to know that 2 different phrases are 2 different phrases and not just one. So at the bottom of page 26, there in the last measure, you're ending a phrase and starting a new one. That's okay. You lift the pedal up with the thumb in the right hand. And as the thumb goes down to play the C, you get that little bit of silence to separate the phrases. Okay, take a look at the end of the second line on page 27. You're ending a phrase. The beginning of the next line is a new phrase. They're still saying legato pedal. I disagree. I think it would be better to separate the sound between these 2 measures. So I would lift the pedal up with the fingers at the end of the second line. So it's here. So we get just a little bit of silence before we go on. So it's hit like so. So there are 2 phrases. I don't know how much trouble the last line is going to cause you, because I don't know how much you're getting it. But let's look at the last line briefly. In the right hand, the index finger is going to play the F. The dotted half note F, all right? And you have 4 4 on the F in the left hand and 2-1 for the A, okay? The right hand has a dotted half note that goes down, stays down for the whole measure, okay? So as you play those last 2 eighth notes in the left hand, the right hand stays down, okay? Here in the first measure, the last line, here, just make sure you hold that dotted half note down all the way for the whole measure. You do lift it up long enough to change fingers to go on, but that's okay because it's a separate phrase. The left hand doesn't have a break there. The left hand is connected. That's okay too because the phrase applies to, in this case, the melody. So it's here. Okay. Could cause some problems for some people. Now in the second ending there, okay, in the left hand you have 1, then 3-1, and then 5, and then a 1 on the F. That's so you can reach the last F at the bottom. It's just stretch out. Okay, I'll hold that fermata, the left hand fermata for 2 counts. Because when I'm playing with a metronome, I just double the value, right? Okay. And in case you're wondering, on page 26, they're talking about turnaround chords. Or a turnaround. All right. It's just a series of chords that you can play over and over and over and over until everyone throws up because they're tired of hearing them, basically. But it's like if you're in a gig somewhere and you just need to fill in while somebody's talking or something is happening, you vamp it. Or you play something like this and you can play it indefinitely. That gives them a little bit of music in the background, or a noise in the background, if you will, until the action or whatever's done is done, and then you go on. And this sequence they're giving you of these 4 chords fits that, because you have an F, D minor, G minor, C7. And it just makes a nice sequence that you can repeat over and over. Something like that. Now what you do with the right hand, it's up to you. You just make it up. Anything that sounds okay with this chord sequence, you can use. You never know when you're at the piano and they'll come out and say, I need you to just do a fill in here. Okay, I don't know how long it is, and that's when you'd use something like that. When there's words in the piece, I tend to follow the words to tell me what the phrasing is. And I can follow their phrasing lines a lot too. But take a look at the top of page 27, all right? Now the beginning of the phrase is the note before it. There at the bottom of page 26. The word is I'll. I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. To me, if I split that into 2 phrases, it's choppy. Short phrases tend to make things sound choppy. We try and avoid them, so if I go, okay, that's how it's written. And to me, I don't like that break. I don't like the phrasing that way. So I would recommend, and I probably will, I will make it all one long phrase. To me, that is better. It sounds better. Even though there's a comma in the words, which could be a phrase, in my mind, it sounds better all one phrase. So that's how I'm going to do it. You decide how you want to do it. It's up to you, of course. Try and bring out the melody, because there's a difference. Let's just take the first few measures. If I just play it the way I hear a lot of people play it, it's this way. Yeah. If I bring out the melody like it's supposed to, which means play the melody according to the dynamic, in this case medium loud, and play everything else under that. Sounds a whole lot better in my opinion, and that's what I recommend you do. Get in the habit, finding that melody and bringing it out. Also, doesn't hurt to learn to play the melody legato. Okay, connect the notes as best you can without the pedal. It's called feeling the melody, and I'll have to do, I guess, a video on this kind of thing, because I've got a question about finger substituting, and I can't really answer that question briefly. takes some talking. It has to do with feeling the melody in many cases. This has an 8th note pickup. So it's like a 1 and 2 and 3, bom, bom. I'm back to my bombs again. So that's how I'm going to count us in. Let's play it together slowly. We will take the repeat, so we're going to play this twice, right? I'm going to take this really slow, okay? Because again, we're not trying to perform it. We're just trying to play it together, to listen to the notes, get the notes right. Do it one hand at a time for a while if you have to. So you're going to start out in your right hand here and here. And the left hand, I recommend a 4. Okay. Now foot's on the pedal, so we're ready to go. I'm going to give you 3.5 counts. Yeah, okay. 2.5 counts. That's a 3/4 time. I give you 2.5 counts. 1 and 2 and 3.